The madness of dry dock. We're about 10 days into this dry dock, and we thought it'd be kind of fun to walk around now and see where we're at. You just saw some scenes of what Symphony looked like before the dry dock. It's a spectacular Saturday here in Boston, and we wanted to take advantage of the sunshine and the madness and the chaos. I guess there'll be no golf today. We'll have to put away the clubs. So let's go walk around and give you an idea of what dry dock is really like. In case you don't recognize where we're at, we're deck 12 forward. Normally it's a beautiful deck to watch us go through the Panama Canal or perhaps lie in the sun. But during dry dock, it is the crew bar. It's the place where people come in the evening to relax a little bit after a busy day. Of course, it's a 24/7 operation, but it's a nice little break area for all the people working. And there's just hundreds and hundreds of people here working fast and furious to try and turn Symphony around in time for the October 1 cruise, our first cruise out of dry dock. Now, normally I'd be looking at the Panama Canal, but instead I'm looking at a different type of lock. In fact, it's the dry dock lock. Take a look down there and you'll get a little sense of what it is all about. The ship is high and dry, and there's a lot of storage down on that area there that is normally a crew recreation area. And we're going to try and get you down onto the dry dock, so we're looking up at the ship. But there's a lot more places to explore, so let's get going. Well, we promised you they were going to be doing a lot of work on the pool, and in fact you can see the crane behind me. So this kind of work is going on all the time during dry dock. There are containers all over the ship, and you can see they're building the new jacuzzi right here by the Seahorse swimming pool. But really, it's just amazing. It's just non-stop work here. What's different about the shop behind me? If you remember, we used to have one satellite dish for the television, and that was in the center, just pretty much overlooking the center court of the tennis. Well, now you can see we have two of them. We've added two, and it's going to allow us to pull in a lot more TV programming. So we're really excited about that. That, of course, is if we're in the footprint of a particular satellite. But it's good news. It's going to be adding to the enhancement, the television enhancement. So you can see the two dishes, the two domes, I should say, the two white domes behind me that will help provide our television programming. Here's a reverse look of the new satellite TV domes. This is the old one that's been moved to the port side. Then in the center you can see where the original one was, and then on the starboard side is the new dish. It's kind of a different look. Hey, you like my new office? I thought I'd come up here on deck. I got a little container. It's an office, got a vise in it. It's got the drill press. Everything's here. It's amazing how many containers. I don't know, there's hundreds of containers on the ship all over the place, and it allows all of the workers to do their job on the spot. It's just non-stop activity and creativity.
There you go.
Hey, there he is. He's here to work. Sorry, I was just borrowing your office.
I see that. That's quite all right.
Thanks. Hey, you need a generator? We've got one right here by the tennis court. So it's just, there's generators all over the place. Here's again another look. Now we're looking back down at the Seahorse pool. We just saw the crane there earlier. You can see that they're sanding the teak decks, and they're going to look spectacular. They're working in the swimming pool as well, and then they're building the new jacuzzi, which now runs the width of the pool. But can you imagine? I guess there'll be no sunbathing today unless we put the deck chairs on top of the containers. But this is what it all looks like during the madness of a dry dock. All right, now we've come into the Neptune pool area. You can see Neptune's kind of looking forlorn and lonely. I guess he just had a cigarette. But the pool is gone. They're working on the deck in here, and it's going to be a great area. It's going to be an absolutely spectacular area. But just take a look at what it is. You can see that the teak has gone down. They're vacuuming it, they're sanding it, they're laying it. And then, of course, by the time you're on, you're seeing the finished product. But I guess the ice cream parlor is closed. No, I'm not standing by where they make the soup. This is not a soup mixer. It's actually a cement mixer. We're right outside the Lido as it continues its transformation. One of your favorite spots on the ship is going to be even better by the time you get on board. Those of you who love the Lido and sitting out on deck, you'll notice that where the overhang was, that now has been pushed out to expand the Lido. We'll sweep over and see that. That's what they're working on. We're still going to have some deck space out here for you to enjoy and a little al fresco dining in the morning or for lunch. But you can see the area that used to be the overhang. It has now been pushed out, and that has expanded the Lido. We're here on the port side of the new serving stations, and you can see there's going to be all individual stations set up right here, and it'll look a lot nicer by the time you're seeing it. And then as we sweep around towards the stern, you can see that area that they've expanded out, which used to be the overhang. So it's all madness. Well, you'll have seen our terrific Crystal ensemble of singers and dancers and the great shows they do in here various nights during the cruise. Well, one of the things that we were able to do this particular dry dock is completely redo that dance floor. It was all torn out and a brand new floor was put in, and it really has made a huge difference. But this is what it looked like while they were working on it. I mean, there were a lot of other things going in as well, including a brand new soundboard, which you're probably seeing on the screen right there. Perhaps we can catch John later on, our sound and light director. He can explain some of the technical changes we've made. If we don't find John, we'll find Kyle. But take a look, brand new dance floor, and the cast love it. People often forget how much of the ship is beneath the water line, and this is really the only time you get a good look at it and an unbelievable vantage point. So we're going to venture down into the actual dry dock. The ship is sitting on blocks right now. We're going to take you down there. We have our Chief of Security, Sanjeev, kind enough to escort us down there. We've got anchor chain out, the bulbous bow. Wait till you see it, and you'll have a really great idea of the actual size perspective with me standing in front of certain things that you only have heard about, but you rarely, if ever, see. So here we go. We're ready to take our trip down into the dry dock. You can see the stairs. We're going to walk down. And in fact, later on, maybe we'll get lucky and give you a couple of surprise looks of the ship that are even more amazing than going down underneath the ship. But let's go down into the dry dock and see what it's all about. And here we are. Wait, whoa, almost lost me. So I'm standing right here just towards the front of the ship. You can see the bulbous bow. We're going to walk up there. But you can see the ship has been put on blocks. They actually do a computerized simulation. They bring the ship in. The blocks have already been put in place. It is then lowered down onto the blocks. And you can see the blue paint here that they have painted on the hull. So they've sandblasted the hull, and then they've actually painted it. So there's not a bit of algae or any kind of growth on the hull right now. Won't take long for it to come back, but right now this is a really unique look at the ship. And then we're going to swing around and kind of give you an idea of the curvature of the hull. So just as we follow that back, then we're going to go up here to the bulbous bow and take a look at the bow thrusters as well. So here we are by one of the two bow thrusters. As you can see, it literally is a propeller in the side of the ship. There's a cylinder here, and it helps propel the ship side to side. It's a great tool for the captain to have when coming into and out of port. And it virtually eliminated the need in most cases for tugboats, because now we've got the bow thrusters and all that help push you alongside. Well, this is what it actually looks like. The grating is off right now. We're going to show you the one right next to it, the more forward bow thruster. If we swing over there, you can see there's a grating there to try and keep large objects out of it, including people. But there's the propeller, the bow thruster. Hey, have you ever seen these people that wear anchors on a chain around their neck? Obviously, you're not doing it with this baby. Take a look. They've actually taken a moment and taken some time to paint some of the shekels on the actual anchor, and that helps them determine how much anchor chain is out. And in fact, if you look up, there's a red one there. That's a connector shekel. There's also some down on the ground. So the anchor is out. It's been painted, and then there's a lot of chain that's been played out as they have been working on it, and in many cases painting it. But here's a look at the anchor chain, and you can see just how thick it is and how heavy. I can move this just a touch. You can see I can actually move it a little bit. I don't want to move it too much because I don't want it coming down on my head. But right behind me is the bulbous bow, and let's take a look at this. It's that unique feature you see on all these ships. If you've ever seen pictures of the great liners going back many, many years, the Mauritania, and many of those ships in the early 1900s, the hull looked to pretty much come straight down. Well, what they have done now is they have a design that is the bulbous bow, and what that does is help increase the efficiency as the ship moves through the water. It helps kind of part the waters a little bit, and it creates less drag as the ship goes through. So it's all about efficiency. But you've seen the bulbous bow from up above. You can see the water line up there. You can see the different markings, the 40, 42, 44, 46, and all of that. So when you see it just sitting there, it doesn't look that enormous. But when you see it with me standing right up next to it, take a look and you'll get an idea of just how large this portion of the ship is, the bulbous bow. I just got word from the captain. He needs me to push the ship up just a touch. So let me. Okay, I think that's good enough. Just had to raise it a little bit. You know, it's always amazing to me is you think the ship is very wide until you get down into a dry dock and look at it right behind you. Just imagine this coming straight for you. Here it is, it's coming, but look how narrow and sleek it looks. It's got beautiful lines, Crystal Symphony, and it's just another look at it and another perspective of the bulbous bow as well. This is seeing it head on, and so you can picture as the ship is plying through the water how that bulbous bow can make a difference in creating virtually a pathway for the ship to then follow through. But it's a magnificent look at the ship. Well, as you look behind me in a few days, this is going to be coming up, and they're going to be letting the water in as they flood it. They'll flood the dry dock, and then, of course, this will disappear so that we can sail on out. The ship will float off the blocks, and then we'll head out this way. But you can see this is what the wall looks like. I guess it's kind of like if you were in the Panama Canal and it was empty of water. You get the same idea. It's kind of the same feel down here. It's almost eerie, and you're glad that that wall holds, because if it doesn't, there's going to be a lot of water coming at us, and we're going to be washed out the back. Here's a good look, a little close-up look at one of the blocks that the ship is sitting on. You can see this is concrete, and then it's got this heavy wood on top of it. And depending on the size of the ship and the shape of the hull, determines how many of these they actually use. They actually get a computerized look at what the ship's hull is, then they match it to that, they put all of these out there, and then the ship comes in and you set it on it.